Alright, here we go again. Rematch Wounded Waters against HLC, going the water build. I've done the rematch of the exact same game as last time using Roiling, but that of course does not count in my Wounded Water gauntlet, where I try to heal Serene and win against every level 6 adversary. Let's hope we win all the remaining games. That is wetlands. Okay, so we're gonna take a bunch of damage there. Looks like lost condition. On the other hand, this is solvable easily. Yeah, this board is kind of lopsided. Let's gain a miner. We're seeing a couple of reasonable cards. Treacherous Waterways is 0 cost, but I don't see me playing it here. Explorer push isn't bad. I mean, but it's probably not good enough. Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth might not be bad to have a little bit more fear and damage. Or Call of the Dahanways. I think we're playing Call of the Dahanways, mostly because it has both elements. And I'm hoping to get a second moon card later, which would then make this a pretty good play. Then we're playing Boon of Corrupted Blood. We are moving this into here. We're going for the layout of the board allows for this specific play, where we execute it quick. There's no event. We don't build here, and we don't build here. And then we don't gather into here, because there's no adjacent town. So that usually doesn't work on other boards, but on this one, it did in this specific scenario. The downside is that I don't have reach on this land, which is pretty annoying, but what can you do? What we'll do instead is that we'll 1 fear, kill this explorer. This is now on 7 damage and no longer lost condition. Doesn't prevent the build in land 1. Oh well. Let's start turn 2, gain a miner. Teeming Rivers is a must play in this draft. I mean, Nature's Resilience is a great card, generally speaking, but Teeming Rivers has all the elements I want. And that's just valuable. I've already drafted 2 cards with Animal plus Water, which means I'm gonna hit a lot of innates later. So, what's my turn to look like? That's the question. I would like to move this into here and gather this into here, I think. Gives me actual... yeah, I probably should. And then I could play Teeming Rivers. Or do I want to? No, I'm going up to 3 Blight. 3 Blight is correct. I don't want to heal this turn, due to HLC having a 3 Blight on the board breakpoint that I would like to hit. So, what card am I playing? I wouldn't hate playing Trout at the Water's Edge. One way to do that would be I could play Trout at the Water's Edge, gather the town into land 5. Oh. No, that would be illegal. This would upgrade this to 7 damage. Sorry, 9 damage. But it would prevent a town being built. Hard to see a good play here. Could play Bloodwater and Bloodlust. Leave, draw to the Water's Edge for later. Basically, the innate maximizing play is draw to the water's edge here, leaving me with these excellent water plus animal cards, which ensures that I get like all the innates I want later. But the downside is that draw to the water's edge is just not a good play this turn. So I guess we're playing Blood, Water, and Bloodlust. And it's just gonna be a little bit of a slow turn, but hopefully it'll be alright. Let's see the event. Fortune Seekers. We ignore the escalation. I think I like that. We choose a land with disease. We don't have any. And we would get a reclaim if I had Tudahan in my land. Sadly, I don't have them. I needed to place in here, or I felt I needed to place in there. Too bad. Alright, let's Ravage here. 7 damage, so no loss condition. We build here, we build here. And then we gather. This is the only town we gather, there's nothing here. Which means it's again 7 damage, right? And then we explore, and it's not coastal, which I'm happy about. And we explore into every land that doesn't have buildings, right? That is how that works? Yeah. And we don't escalate. I like it. And then there's Blood, Water, and Bloodlust, which I can use on either this or on that. If I use it on land 4, yeah, that seems correct, right? Since I'm not gonna build any town adjacent to land 4, I will again be in the situation where I don't have any adjacent towns together. On the other hand, never mind, if I do that. I was thinking that this would then be only an explorer. And that's true, but the explorer would do 3 damage because it's HLC, right? So I guess that's how we're doing it. And I still have Swell and Spell. Actually, I could just move this, right? Move this and this maybe. Using Swell and Spell. And then it doesn't build and also it doesn't gather because there's no adjacent towns. Beautiful. And the next, usually we would have gotten an adjacent town. Almost guaranteed due to the escalation. But since we skipped the escalation, there aren't any. That said, we still have these 2 lands. I have drawn to the water's edge. Yeah, I think that has to be good enough. Let's get a miner. It's okay. We can survive a single card with animal. So we're playing either Savage Maw-Beasts or Diametamorphosis here. I need to play Draw to the Water's Edge this turn. I don't need to. Could play something like these 2 this turn, hitting level 2 in Silent Spell, level 2 in Sanguinary Taint. And then next turn I could hit play these together with an animal card and also hit the same innates. That seems correct, right? But that means that I don't play Draw to the Water's Edge this turn, which means this land is gonna be sad, man. I mean, I'm going to start my Dahad factories fairly soonish. And I would like taking 2 Blight here. I could have also saved the Dahad instead of clearing that land. That was a choice I made. I'm going to be on 5 Blighter. Oh, I'm going to be on 5 blight, and then I'm going to heal a blight. Which means that I can again add a blight with the metamorphosis and it would be good, right? There's under the assumption that I can prevent this from trolling me again. I could also play that. It's also 0 cost and I can play it more than once. In case of doubt, go for the lower blight route. Give me a second, I still need to place a presence. I think I forgot Boon of Corrupted Blood here. Yeah. Need to be in more lands. That's my quick. Let's look at the event. Distant exploration. Yeah, that is irrelevant. Choose a land with disease and do 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to Dahan. Losing another Dahan, man. This is gonna be rough. And that is 2 fear. So maybe my fear card will save me. There's at least 1 fear card that would skip this Ravage. Otherwise my Waters Renew will be pretty limited at the start of the game. Isolate 1 land. That's not it though. So what would I like to isolate? Land 2, right? Because it means that I don't gather a turn into here. It's a shame, really. Because getting rid of the city would have been so much easier on roiling. Oh well. Lose to Dahan here and cry. Feels like that was a misplay, right? Must have been correct to save those Dahan. Still healthy. Hate that. Hate that thing. I would like to sacrifice from my holy side, sacred side, but I can't. Because I need it in slow. Alright, this is like a worse downward spiral, sort of. And that it triggers immediately. I mean, you can turn it off, but... And it gives more... Whatever. Let's not get into that now. That was Ravage, right? Oh, actually, that is... No, exactly 5. Exactly 5 blight on the board. Perfect. Huh. Maybe I should have tried... Whatever. And then we are building. We don't build here because of the disease. We don't build here because there's nothing in there. Then we gather. We don't gather into here because of the isolate. And we don't gather into here because there's no adjacent town. We explore. It's mountains. I like it. Might be a bit challenging, we'll see. And we don't add any towns, because I'm at exactly 5 blight on the board. Of which I'm going to heal 1 now. Presumably this one. Actually, let's heal this one, I guess. And then I kind of need the Dahan to be in play. Let's start with Sanguinary Taint. Ping it into here, replace that with the town, right? Good start. Then I could wreck with Pen and Grief that. Let's do that. 2 fear, wreck with Pen and Grief. Push that into here maybe? Downgrading it into an Explorer and hope that the beast eats them all. And then we're going to use Swell and Spell. 1 fear. Push these two into here and push these two into here. Downgrade this. If I could, I would push an Explorer into here so they die in the Ravage. And I suppose I could maybe... So here's an option. No. Kinda annoying to have all of the towns that I still have on those lands. So let me think about it for a second. I know that I'm going to uncover this next turn. And I know I'll get a town in these three, huh? Because they're least amount of blight. So saving that land will be a bit of a challenge, I suppose. At least it's adjacent to that, right? And I think I should keep the blight in there. Easier to kill. Actually, let's heal that blight, yeah. Alright, time passes. We're blazing 2 presents. I'm pretty happy that I forgot Boon of Corrupted Blood due to drawing that. So... Wait, no. This is what we want. We want level 2 of Swell and Spell and level 1 of Sink and Irritate again. So I still need a Sacred Site, sadly, for Savage Maw Beasts. Probably going to draw into Water's Edge out of there, so that this doesn't have any adjacent turns, right? And then this is just gonna be a big ass land. Not sure what I'm gonna do with that. Probably just kill one Explorer or something. I kind of regret not having taken... I think I should have taken Diametamorphosis. I just didn't want to spend so much time thinking through all the implications. But it would have been a better play. Would have triggered Call of the Dahanwei's Moon, and I would have known that. And the extra blight would have been actively helpful. Oh well. It'll be fine. Let's gather this into here. Actually, let's gather it into here. So it dies in Ravage. There's no adjacent town. This will not build, and it will not do anything else either. That is my entire quick. I'm not sure yet about that land. It'll be fine, I think, but we're still healthy. Which means we add an Explorer to a land with Blight. Let's add it to here, I suppose. There are some cards that I could draft that would solve that. Poison Dew, most notably. Oh, Beast Chase of the Homesteaders. Push up 2 stuff from a land with Beast. I think I'm happy with where things are. Riding in Retaliation. In each land with... yeah, nothing happens. Alright, let's look at our first fear card. Each player chooses a different land with the Han in each 1 damage. Let's kill this Explorer. Alright, then in Ravage they die. Nothing happens here, nothing happens here. They don't build here. They do build here. And... ouch. Yeah, they're up to 5, and they're going to get up to 6. We'll see how we'll deal with that. I could still choose to change what this element is if I needed to. It's Sands. And then we do now get an escalation town. Let's add it here maybe. Let's add it here maybe. Hard to say. Maybe here. And then we get a coastal city, which we'll have here. And we'll get 3 towns, and the 3 towns will be here, here, and here. So this now only has one adjacent town, right? Which means if next turn I play something like Draw Through the Water such on that, this will have... I wish I was in that land. It probably just wasn't worth having a sacred site for that. I should have... Actually, did I remember to destroy presence? I think I didn't, right? I think I forgot, so let's just... Oh. I forgot 2 things. I forgot to add the second presence from my third growth option, and I forgot to destroy a presence. So that cancels out. It just means that I was unable to move any of my presences. Okay, let's have a reminder here for next turn. So I think it's correct to take like 7 damage here and Blight again, right? But only 7. So things I want to do. This land. Currently 1, 2, 3, 6 towns and the 7th here, and 2 explorers. Where did the second explorer come from? Oh wow. So currently it's at 8 times 2, so 16 damage. 16 is more than 8. I could take 1 loss condition, but I haven't taken 1 yet. Maybe that is just the way. Just say who cares? Probably correct, right? Just take 1 more blight there. Yeah, that seems easily correct. I thought I had already taken a loss condition blighter, but I hadn't. All of my blights so far have been... What's the opposite of loss condition? Not loss condition, right. So... I wish I was in more lands. Could push out of here. Maybe Savage Maw Beasts first. 1 fear. Kills that explorer. And then I'll use Violent Spell on that land. No, then I'm using Sanguinary Taint. 1 fear. Kill that guy. Push that into here. Downgrade it. And now I'm using Violent Spell. Push this into here. Push this into here. Push that explorer into here, downgrading it. That was 1 presence and 1 explorer, which means I still get to push 1 Dahan, and that's it. And I'm pushing the Dahan either into land 6 or into land 2. And I'm thinking I'm pushing into land 2 maybe. Yeah, that seems fine. And then I use... Is that correct or no? Let's push it into here. Replace the explorer and then use... What is that? Call of the Dahan Vase to get 1 more Dahan there. I like having my Dahan there. Okay, time passes. Reclaim, gain a miner, gain energy, gain Water's Renew. I don't see any water here. That is bad, but it's acceptable. Any of these cards any good? Probably Call to Guard, right? Alright, the number of non-water cards in these drafts is a bit worrying. I also have to sacrifice a presence. Maybe in land 4. I also need to gather this blight. Let's gather it into land 6 for now. Let's get it into like 5 for now. I want it to be in land 2 long term. I'm going to draw to the water's edge here next turn, which means this turn I'm gonna teaming rivers maybe. And I'll have to create the sacred site in slow with swell and spell. Probably. Actually, any of these cards that I chose not to use, Unquenchable Flames, nah, never mind. I was thinking of drafting a card that lets me use Call of the Dahan ways better. Then I'm going wreck with Pen and Grief, right? It's just a good card. It's just excellent. And I want to reclaim it next turn. And then my last card is any card with water. Let's use that. And then next turn I play Call of the Dahan ways, draw to the water's edge, and wreck with Pen and Grief. And then I reclaim. I think that's how it works. It's a little bit awkward. Let me think about it real quick, whether or not I want to change these. And I think the answer is yeah, I want to. This card is requires targeting from Blight, as does Wreck with Pen and Grief. That's kind of a constraint this turn, because my Blight are not in perfect position. Yeah. Alright. So I get to use Water's Renew. I don't want to use it into land 8, I want to start making Dahan, not lose them. I'm thinking land 2. Do that and downgrade this. Then add a beast. Downgrade this again and then replace this with a Dahan. It's no fear, which I kinda hate, but you know, it's something. And Call of the Dahan ways will make it easier to hit my Dahan next turn. Like my 2 Dahan for that. Alright, that was my entire quick. Let's flip my event. I need to destroy presence. I destroy this presence. I'm in stage 2. Map makers shut the wild. Okay, so that means I'm just gonna explore with 2 explorers. Each beast deals 1 damage. Nice, -1 explorer. And I get to add a Dahan to some land that doesn't have... I think land 7 is the only land that qualifies. I don't have fear cards. Fear, it's been pretty slow. I'll take a last condition right there. I'm back again at 5 blight on the board, so if this is jungle, then I don't escalate. If it's coastal, then whatever. Then I build in land 3, I don't build in land 5, and then I gather from here first, and I have to gather this town, and I gather from here next. Because if jungle comes up, I'd like... Actually, is that correct? No, I think I'd gather from here. I kinda want to... This is not a bad target for Swell and Spell. And it's coastal anyway, so who cares? Alright. In terms of presences on the board, game's not looking too great. In terms of blight check, and it's looking pretty good. And in terms of buildings on the board, it looks pretty good too. So I needed to create that sacred site. That would be by pushing out of here. Let's use Wreck with Pen and Grief. I think I start with Call of the... No, we'll see. Wreck with Pen and Grief, 2, Fear, push that into here, let's say. And then use Swell and Spell, 1 Fear, on land 2. Push that into here, push that into here, push that into here where it downgrades, and push that into... What's about this land, man? I wanted to draw to the water's edge that. Maybe I'll just water renew it instead. In which case I cannot really move this Tahan, so I'll just keep it there. And push one beast into land 1, so that it kills the explorer. Then teaming rivers. I might just heal this blight, in case I ever want to do damage here. And then Call of the Dahan Vase, use it on here. And I think that was my slow. Time passes. Draw to the water's edge. Wreck with Pain and Grief. Bloodwater and Bloodlust. The other two cards just don't get any play because they're a bad fit for my elements. Alright, and then I place 2 presents. I want one here, and gathering that I want one, I don't know, here, which I probably remove in after quick. Alright. Water's Renew into that land. This downgrades, say, an Explorer. Then we add a beast, we add 3 defend. And we replace one invader with a Dahan. Since there are no adjacent towns, this should be defended. And kill at least one of the towns. And the other town, we'll think about that in slow. Draw to the water's edge. I would love to do something about this, but I can only draw it into land 5 and I don't want to. So I just draw this into land 6 and downgrade it that eye. That is my quick. I have to destroy a presence. I'm choosing to destroy this presence. Yeah, it's fine. Let's flip the event then. Population rises. Add a town to a land with Explorer town. Sure. This is my designated town land, right? Sand Fever Outbreak. On each board, add a disease to the sand or mountains with the most buildings. Gladly. Offerings of Pattern and Dance. Yeah, I get 1 energy this time for having a bunch of Dahan in my lands. Dahan and Heartened. Each player may push one down from a land with invaders or gather one Dahan into a land with invaders. I like that. I would like to have a Dahan in here. No, I'd like to have it in here. Hard to say which is better. Let's just do it here. Alright, then the Ravage here. I defend for 3, so this dies, and the other one takes 2 damage. And yeah, maybe I should have gathered from there. I'm not sure that was correct. Maybe it's fine though. Yeah, I see at least one not bad play. Alright, they build here, they don't build here, they do build here. Sadly, we didn't get a beast event. And then they gather towns, but there aren't any adjacent towns, right? So, and then they explore into these lands. I need more fear. And I think I'll start with Sword and Spell on land 1, right? I can actually leave a Dahan there to kill the Explorer. Or I could just wreck with Pen and Grief it. Yeah, maybe we do that. Alright, we wreck with Pen and Grief. We push it into here, let's say. And here. No, that goes into there. That goes into here, downgrades. So this now dies in Ravage, right? To the Dahan. Then we swell and spill, say, this land maybe? Downgrade it and it dies? No, actually, pull it into here and it dies. Pull this and it downgrades. Pull this and it downgrades. I've not added the fear yet. That's swell and spill does. And that only leaves Bloodwater and Bloodlust, right? This land just needs a little bit of defend. The rest is solved. And I would like... That is already deceased. I would like no builds this turn. I think we can make that happen. Time passes. Reclaim, gain an energy, gain a miner. There's some good cards here. Play Confounding Mist. Defend 4 on this land. That's pretty nice. There would have been some other solutions too, but this one works for me. Maybe try that. Yeah, that allows me to kill this presence in here this turn. Alright, so this is defended 4. And then for this land, these two. Downgrade 1 town into an explorer. Replace land 1 town with an explorer. That was, and I guess add a beast. That was Waters to New. No fear sadly, but you know. And then Confounding Mist I've already played, Trot with the Water's Edge. I'm debating drawing this or that. I think I am trying this. It's gonna be drawn into here anyway, right? If I don't gather it now, then after the build it will be gathered from 7 into 5. So that's why at least I have a downgrade. I could have also drawn some towns from here to there, tried to make better sized lands for Swell and Spill, but that leaves me risking a disease skip too much. I would hate to build 4 towns due to a disease skip. Alright, that was my quick. Kill this presence, move this here. To hand trade with the invaders. Yeah, that event, generally speaking, only has one option. Dahan don't participate in Ravage is often just not an option. So you pay 2 energy, in my case I do it by discarding Savage Maw Beasts. And destroy one of my Dahan. You know, kind of sucks, but also I kind of have a bunch at this point. Say this one, 1 fear. And then they will still Ravage. Scapegoats. Yeah, honestly, on water I like scapegoats. Because destroying explorers is pretty valuable when you're playing water. When you're playing animal, you'd rather have the explorers. Then we ravage. This dies. This dies. Then we build. Don't build, don't build, don't build, don't build. And then we explore. And we don't explore into land 4 because there's no adjacent building. Not the perfect time of perfect kind of pocket, but honestly we've skipped a lot of builds this game and I'm pretty happy about that. So we use Wreck with Pain and Grief, push this into here, and this into here. We downgrade the town to an explorer in the process. Then we play Swell and Spill, add a fear, push these two into here, push this into here, push this into here. The Dahan downgrades an explorer, the town gets downgraded by pushing. And that was all of our powers. We press time passes. We, I don't know, open 3 energy because we can. We place a bunch of presents. We reclaim the best card out of our starting hand, drag with pen and grief. Play these cards, we check, press pay, and then, no, we go forward to here. We gather into here, that is not what I wanted. We gather that extra hand into here, we downgrade this, we replace the turn with the Dahan, and we win the game. Alright. Turn 8 and fast. It's kinda okay. I lost a lot of Dahan, maybe more than was required at the start. But I only ever took 4 blight. And that was nice. Generally speaking, board state was well under control. I think it was extremely lucky that this land came up turn 1, and then we alternated between mountain and wetlands, which always left land 4 so easily clearable. And then that was pretty easy this game to prevent a lot of town gathers. But yeah, felt pretty good. Definitely winnable. Anyway, good game.